KSC present. Scientists are asking people to watch out for these tiny eggs before they begin any gardening. Gardens can provide homeowners with their very own slice of nature right on their doorsteps. But while many people will notice the small creatures in their yard, other creatures are so tiny that they are hard to spot. That's why scientists have issued a warning telling gardeners to watch out for these particularly tiny eggs. With spring in the air, people often choose to spend more time outside. Some may soak up the sun at the beach, while others head for the park. However, for some, it's the perfect time of year to carry out home improvements. And with the sun in the sky, that means sorting out the yard ready for summer. After all, a winter of neglect would doubtless have left many lawns in desperate need of TLC. So across the country, homeowners will put on their gardening gloves. Horticulture is big business in the United States. One study, for example, found that of all the homeowners in the country, half will have gardened in the previous year. In 2013 alone, in fact, American households spent some $29.5 billion on their yards. So, as spring arrives, many people have been heading outdoors to fix up their yards. However, they are being met with words of warning from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, USFWS. That's because the organization is worried about the impact gardeners could be having on the country's native wildlife. The USFWS was formed in 1940 and is dedicated to the conservation of American wildlife and plants. It also looks after natural habitats where native creatures can be found. The agency's mission is working with others to conserve, protect, and enhance fish, wildlife, plants, and their habitats for the continuing benefit of the American people. In springtime, the USFWS turns some of its attention to the protection of nesting birds. Raising their young can be a stressful experience for the creatures. As such, the Wildlife Agency asks the public to be mindful of their habitats and stay away from nests as much as they possibly can. In a statement posted to the USFWS website in 2016, the agency explained, by maintaining a respectful distance from the bird nests, we can help ensure that the birds will not be sensitive to disturbance, since if they feel threatened, they may even abandon young. We certainly don't want to detract from the incubation process, and we don't want to interfere with them in their home. It wouldn't be considered unusual for garden owners to come across birds' nests on their property during the spring. If this happens, it's important for them to know that many nests are protected by the law. This is because they are considered active during the breeding season, according to the USFWS website. By definition, an active nest is one that is currently being used by birds or contains their eggs. Because of the wildlife protections that are in place, it's illegal for anyone to disturb an active bird's nest. Furthermore, if you have an exceptional circumstance that requires you to move such an item, you must apply for a special permit. For some protected bird species, the laws regarding their nests are even stricter. For instance, it's illegal to tamper with the nests of golden eagles or bald eagles. Whether they are occupied or not, breaking the law in this instance can result in a fine of up to $500,000 and 2 years in prison. Luckily, many eagle nests are hard to miss. Bald eagles, for example, return to the same nest each year. As a result, they create huge, sturdy structures in which to raise their young, according to the USFWS website. The largest known eagle nest had a depth of 20 feet and weighed a mighty 2 tons. Given the size of eagles' nests, it's unlikely that someone would accidentally disturb one while tending to their garden. However, other bird species are not so lucky. That's because their nests are so small, they can easily go unnoticed, and perhaps unintentionally ended up in harm's way. So at the turn of spring, one of the USFWS concerns comes in the form of some little eggs. Yes, it has warned gardeners to be mindful of the jelly bean-sized object when attending to their lawns. Special care, it says, is especially called for when trimming back shrubs and bushes. The eggs in question are curious objects, indeed. No bigger than a human thumbnail. This tiny white orbs contain something quite magical. They are incubated in a nest the size of a table tennis ball for a little over 2 weeks, during which time their mother will do her best to ward off any predators, even dive bombing them in order to keep her baby safe. No, although the eggs in question are small, they are nonetheless very important. That's because they belong to hummingbirds. The species exists throughout the Americas and is, of course, famous for being one of the smallest bird types on the planet. Hummingbirds prefer shielded spots to build their nests so that they can raise their young in safety. They seek particular shelter from the elements rain, sun, and wind and predators. As a result, optimum locations for their nests include dense bushes and between forked tree branches. Hummingbirds have also been known to build their tiny nests on top of other everyday items found around the home. These include on top of security cameras, soccer goal posts, and basketball nets. They have even been found on cactuses, where spikes provide an extra form of protection. So it's important to be cautious about disturbing these precious structures, especially when trimming back foliage or moving outdoors items around. However, if gardeners do stumble upon hummingbird nets, they should stay well away, as previously indicated. In spring, the law protects birds' nests after all. Remember, messing with nests is actually against the law, because at this time of year the nests are active, of course. This measure helps protect any eggs and newborn fledglings. That's because hummingbird populations currently face a number of threats, and almost 15% of all hummingbird species now face extinction. It would be a crying shame, then, to lose such a fantastic bird from our skies. Hummingbirds are fascinating creatures. For example, they are the only birds that can fly backwards. While they have earned their name from the noise that their wings make as they beat at up to 5,400 times a minute in flight. This super fast beating uses up so much energy that the extraordinary creatures spend most of their time resting in trees. Hummingbirds certainly are incredible creatures, and with their populations in decline. We as humans surely must do everything we can to protect them. So, before you hack away at your shrubs and bushes in the garden this spring, be sure to check for miniature eggs and nests first. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.